In 2012, Michaela was crowned the UK's most prolific female fraudster after she conned millions out of banks and disappeared. In today's video, I'm going to break down how Michaela scammed her way to a life of luxury at the bank's expense. Welcome to Fincrime Files. On this channel, I'll be posting content discussing stories of corruption, fraud, money laundering and anything Fincrime. Now, if that sounds like something you're interested in, please subscribe and like these videos, it really does help me out. In today's video, I'm going to be shining a light on Michaela, who between 2007 to 2008 managed to scam millions of pounds out of banks in a mortgage con involving some of London's most expensive properties. Maria is originally from Mauritius, which is a beautiful island nation in the Indian Ocean. Due to it being surrounded by barriers of coral reef, it's popular with tourists wanting to take their first diving lessons. Though this wasn't enough for Maria. She dreamed of making easy money and living a luxurious life in London, and she very nearly got it. In 2007, Maria was living in London. This is where she approached a senior banker at HBOS Bank and used false documents to pose as Joanne Peer, the heiress of a South African business fortune whose grandfather had founded the leisure company Sun City. Maria managed to convince HBOS Bank to give her 4 loans worth £10.5 million. She then went and repeated the con at Royal Bank of Scotland and was given a further £2.5 million. Rinse and repeat. Maria used the loans to purchase luxury property in London, including a £3.5 million home in Chelsea and a Mews property in Belgravia. Now, for those who don't know, Mews houses were built in the 18th and 19th century, originally intended to stable horses with accommodation above for servants. You'll find them in central London, which of course now makes them eye-wateringly expensive. Now here's the kicker. Maria bribed chartered surveyor Mary Jane Rathy, who at the time was actually married to a police officer, to write fictitious reports in which she doubled the value of the properties, which meant the loan payments Maria received from the bank were much higher than the costs of the properties she bought. Now, why would Mary Jane Rathy, a law-abiding citizen and chartered surveyor, do this? Because Maria gave her a ton of money. It was reported that Maria gave Mary Jane Rathy just under £1 million in cash, a £143,000 Bentley Continental, and a £49,000 Range Rover Sport. What happened after this is all a bit unclear. Maria started defaulting on the mortgage payments, and basically she did a runner with all the bank's money, and no one saw her for 3 years. During the time, Maria even appeared on an episode of the BBC's Crime Watch. Crime Watch was a UK real-life crime programme where detectives came into the BBC studios to take calls from viewers in an attempt to solve some of Britain's biggest unsolved cases. Now, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. In 2012, City of London police finally caught up with Maria. They found her working in a mortgage brokerage in the neighbourhood of London, Blackheath. She had created a new false identity and was going by the name Mia Cool. Maria's court hearing was heard at Harrow Crown Court, where she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of fraud by false representation. Maria was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Surveyor Mary Jane Rathy, who took nearly £1 million in cash, a Bentley Continental and Range Rover Sport, was sentenced to 6 years in prison after being convicted of 5 counts of fraud and 1 count of money laundering. Detective Inspector Andy Fife said, Michaela created a web of deception and duped banks into handing over vast sums of money and then perpetuated her crimes by assuming new aliases to try and secure more loans. False identities and a corrupt property surveyor were the tools she used to make millions, turning herself into one of the, if not the, most prolific female fraudster the UK has ever seen. Once again, I'm going to jump forward a couple years. After Maria was released from prison, the Sun newspaper obtained figures via the Freedom of Information request, which shows despite being released from prison, Maria has only paid back £1.4 million of the money she stole. Members of the Centre for Crime Prevention call for a reform that sees fraudsters staying behind bars until all the proceeds of their crimes have been recovered, as yet again we see scammers and fraudsters making millions from their schemes and only paying back a fraction of their ill-gotten gains. Now, this brings us to the end of the case. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you think fraudsters like Maria should stay behind bars until all the money they've stolen has been recovered? Or do you think the prison sentence alone is enough? As always, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll be posting more videos covering cases of fraud, corruption and money laundering on this channel. Till next time, take care.